Hello everybody, this is Jay from BroGaming, and today I'm bringing you the first episode of my Road to World series. And today we have two kind of different matches. One is looking at where I start off really well, and the other one is where I start off very poorly and kind of make a comeback. And actually, there's a very interesting part in the video that I may clip out and show you guys individually for a second video today on why you don't want to give your opponent win conditions. And that's kind of what the subject of this video today is, not giving your opponent a win condition. And both of these videos kind of directly target that. In this first match, he opens with giving me a very easy win condition, which in his defense, he only seemed to have one basic Pokemon at the time. But I open with Tauros, which has a base damage of 60 when I have a double colorless energy, and he opens with Formantis, which has an HP of 60. So opening with a low HP Pokemon like that is something that you're going to immediately be at a disadvantage at, especially with Tauros GX making a very big presence in the metagame right now, as well as basic EX is still in the game. So if he would have had Beedrill EX instead of Formantis, then he would have been in a better situation. Unfortunately, he only had Formantis at the time, and I was able to top deck a double colorless energy, allowing me to take a prize card at the beginning of the game. Now, for me, this was kind of a pointless prize card. It didn't help me in any way, and it kind of almost slowed the game down, in fact. But for him, it was losing one of his Formantises, which who knows how many he played. Now, as you can see, I'm currently setting up my Machamps, and that's kind of just a good thing to do. And I kind of contemplate about putting a belt on my Tauros or not, and I just go ahead and do that because of he's just going to take it off. But I do that just in case there is a way for him to do some damage to my Tauros. I don't want it going down in one turn. So that's kind of why I do that. So back onto the subject of not giving your opponent a win condition, you're going to see here that I have the Lysander in my hand, and I could have Lysandered out that other Beedrill, but I go ahead and Horn Attack. And this puts me in a position to where his only Pokemon with energy on it, which is now a Mega Beedrill, doesn't have any, if I'm able to knock that one out, then he doesn't really have anything else. Plus, he goes ahead and discards all the energy after it, and that gives me a win condition. See, him discarding all that energy at a time where he really didn't have the liberty to do that gives me a good win condition, and that's what you don't want to do to your opponent. He does retreat, but unfortunately I kept that Lysander in my hand, and the only thing he could do last turn was retreat, and that's kind of where he concedes and the match is over. And so that's something that you don't want to do in any match, is giving your opponent that win condition. So discarding cards off of your Pokemon when you know that you cannot do that is kind of a bad situation. So my recommendation to him was, instead of Mega Evolving that Pokemon, maybe he should have left it as a Beedrill EX, tried to get the Pin Missile off, because it's 40 damage times this in the number of heads, and you flip 4 coins. So that's a possibility of 160 damage. If he had a Lysander, could have came in handy there, pulling out my Machamp without any energy on it. Could have stalled him and could have allowed him to set up a little bit more. But now, since we're in the second game here, guys, we're looking at a match where I didn't start out as well. I started out with a Machamp and a Spinarak, which isn't the worst, but I'm playing a very quick deck. I'm playing an Espeon deck. Now, Espeon GX and Umbreon GX haven't made as big as a impact in the metagame as I thought they would when the Sun and Moon base set came out. But they still are an incredibly quick deck because of their base evolution, which is Eevee with the energy evolution ability. Now right here he ends me, which is almost which really hurt me, because I did have a double colorless energy and a Nest Ball in my hand, and he ends me to 3 fighting energies and really nothing else. So I'm going to have to go ahead and end, which I do get my Tauros, but unfortunately no switch or a double colorless energy. And this is kind of where I want to point out something, is that at this moment, I'm reading this card and making sure that he possibly couldn't kill my Machamp and I believe at this moment he can. But I have 2 Machamps on the bench, which is basically 4 prize cards for him. 4 easy prize cards for him, especially since he's playing Mewtwo and Espeon. With Machamp, I have to get at least 3 energy on it to do any sorts of big damage. So 3 energy for that Espeon, that's at least 360 damage that he has a possibility of doing to me because of my weakness. So really, I shouldn't have played that other Machamp. And you'll see later in this match where I make a huge mistake where I possibly could have won this match if I would have not gave my opponent a win condition. So looking at this match, I'm just going to go ahead and start attacking with Tauros, hoping that he builds up some damage to so that I can use Rage, so that I can use Max Bull GX. But unfortunately, he doesn't, and there is a Lysander, and there's his 4th. There's 2 more prize cards that he can possibly get. Luckily, that didn't have any energy on it, but I don't have any way to get that out of the active slot. So it's going to come into a point where I kind of can't do anything. I had a ton of draw power this turn. I had Scorched Earth plus Trainer's Mail plus Professor Sycamore, so I had a lot of draw power. Unfortunately, I only play 2 switches and 1 escape rope. So I just kind of bite the bullet there and get the poison off on the Espeon, hoping that it can deal up some damage so that when I throw my Tauros back out, I can kill it with a 70 damage horn attack. Now he does end me, and I'm hoping that I'll get a good hand off of this because he's dropping down to 4 cards and I have 6, which I don't get a bad hand. I do get my switch that I was searching for last turn, but he is able to kind of get his Trainer's Mail, get his Mewtwo Spirit Link, get the Mega Mewtwo up, and now I am in a very prickly situation of where he is going to be at 2 prize cards and I am going to be at 6. And this is a bad situation for me. And at this moment, he doesn't have a win condition. The only win condition he does have is taking out my Tauroses, which is going to be very hard for him to do, especially with high damage Pokemon, but not high enough damage to take it out in 1 hit. And me being able to switch in between those 2 Tauroses. So as right here, I'm looking to see like maybe Professor Kukui is going to be the best choice for me, so I go ahead and play that Professor Kukui, getting off that 80 damage, which I almost should have Lysandered because I know I did have a Lysander in the discard pile at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below, but I believe I did, and it kind of, so I should have Lysandered out the Mega Mewtwo and done 70 damage to it because it didn't have any energy on it at all, which this Espeon now has 3 energy on it and is going to be doing quite a bit of damage to me. So, though the Mega Turbos did make it a little bit harder, but at this point in time, he still doesn't have anything. But if you watched me last turn, if you caught it, I played Machamp on my bench. And that Machamp on my bench is now his win condition. I gave him a win condition. With 2 Tauroses and an Audinose, he didn't really have a win condition. If you Lysanders out the Audinose, it's only going to give him 1 prize card. With the Tauroses, he's got to go through my mass amount of Tauroses where I could Lysander him and I could pick up some prize cards. He's got 2 Shamans on the bench, which I'm definitely looking at to KO. And all in all, it's a very difficult situation for him when I only have the 2 Tauroses on my bench. But with the Machamp on my bench, now he just has to find a Verse Seeker to Lysander out, to get a Lysander out of his discard pile, or to find a Lysander in his deck. And he's very few cards in his deck at this point in the game. I believe he had 11. So I'm just reading over the Mewtwo EX, which I do want to know, leave this in the comment section below if Mewtwo EX's attack affects weakness, because on the card it reads that it doesn't, but I'm unfor sure if it does affect weakness or not. I don't believe it does. I believe the base damage is affected by weakness, so instead of 10 it's 20, but other than that I think the added damage, it doesn't affect weakness. It doesn't double the added damage. So here he kind of has enough on his Mewtwo to retreat it and get out his Espeon, which is very unfortunate for me because then he pulls out the Lysander and ends the game. So there is the problem. I gave my opponent a win condition and instead was defeated. So if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like on the video. Let's try to get this to 10 likes. That would be awesome if you guys could do that for me. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm posting daily videos. My road to worlds is in operation. So definitely go ahead and click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And once again, guys, this has been Jay from BroGaming. Don't forget to always pursue your dreams and keep on battling.